everyone, and welcome to the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. That's right. Yeah, I'm getting a little feedback here, so we're going to check a couple of things to make sure that everything is going good on your end and that you can hear me okay. Otherwise, we're going to have to start this whole damn thing over again. So give me just a second while we get settled. We do have a great program for you this evening. It is Power Rankings Day. We'll have some headlines and then special guest Korey Ringer. So bear with me for just a moment while I test out a few things here. All right, T? Hold on. All right, it looks like everything's coming through good on your guys' end. So, yeah, let's go ahead and proceed with the fan show. Again, my apologies. I hate when stuff happens tech-wise on my end because I'm never sure how it's coming out on your end. I don't have like a delay or a relay or anything, so I just have to hope and pray, oh my God, that everything is going all right. These are the kind of kinks that I like to happen. I don't like them to happen. But if they do, I feel better about them happening on an episode like this as opposed to when I have like one of my big special guests that I had to book for months in advance and do all these follow-up emails. Yes, that is correct. It is headlines time, which is the perfect segue into what I was just about to say. So here we go, the headlines. All right, so the headlines are that we officially landed Mick Foley. That's right, the great one, the legendary. Okay, The Rock is the great one, but Mick Foley is just as good. It was the Rock and Sock connection. Come on, Mick Foley, officially booked as of today. 27 emails were exchanged between myself and his manager/agent. And that is not a joke. That is not an over-exaggeration, because it lists how many emails have gone back and forth between you and the recipient. 27. The 27th one was the let's do it. So there's still technically, I think, 28 or 29 making sure that we've got all the information that we need from each other. So that, you know, not to toot my own horn because I'm not a person that likes to brag or really boast, but there are certain times where I will not accept being sold short, by myself included. So if people want to say, you know, like, hey, your show's great, I will accept that. You know, I know that there are shows out there that are just as good, if not better. Clearly, there's always room for improvement, things that I can do better. But if somebody were to tell me that I didn't work hard enough, oh my. Oh, if somebody said I didn't work hard enough to get where I was or where I was trying to go, whew, they'd be in for a rude awakening. Because look, all right, I'm not saying that I work harder than anybody or everybody, I work harder than a lot of people. I've done 302 episodes, which, as I mentioned on last night's program, that is apparently quite a feat. But the simple fact is that you can't just get to 300 easily. You can't even get to 100 easily. You really have to set aside time for yourself to get where you're trying to go, whether it's a podcast or really anything else. Anywhere, any type of milestone or goal that you have set in your mind, it's on you to get there. Like, it's not really anybody else's fault. The old band that I was in, the singer tried to blame the band failing on me because I quit. And it was like, okay, well, you can have that belief if you want, but if this band is how you speak of it, like your baby, your passion, everything that you've ever wanted, there's no power except for God himself that can interfere with you pursuing your dreams and making everything happen that's within your power. I was their third drummer. Don't blame this on me for quitting. I quit because I said it's either me or the guitar player because I got tired of the constant drinking and the bitching and the bickering and showing up late to practice, not wanting to practice. If we played one song, he didn't want to play it again. He's like, let's move on. I got shit to do, apparently. And then when we would play shows, it was 3 beers too many, sloppy play when we had like labels there and scouts there to check us out, and it wasn't our best performance. And I was livid. And I kept saying, we need to find a new guitar player because this is not working. And the response I got was that, well, I don't feel like we need to spend all this time looking for a new one when we've got one. We just need to get him on the same page. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Like, fast forward 8 months, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't have all these opportunities come our way and for them to be squandered because someone can't get their head in the game and their mouth off the bottle. You know, it's that simple. We talked about yesterday also people getting paid too much to be that stupid. Reuben Foster, Alden Smith. Like, how much do you have to be paid before you stop doing stupid things? So look, I don't believe that I am the hardest worker out there, but I do know that when it comes to what I do, podcasting, live broadcasting, giving you the best show possible, there are few that work harder than me behind the scenes. I've booked Steve Dranazisi for tomorrow night for the second time ever on the show. It was over a year ago. He was my first big name celebrity guest that I ever had, and I was so happy about it. We had a great time. I'm glad I left an impression of which he felt good to come back on the show again. And then I booked Mick Foley. That's 2 names of probably this last month, like 15 that I've reached out to try to book on the show. It's a lot of work. It's a grind. And anytime anybody asks me, like, how do you do it? I just say, I grind. Like, I'm sending emails. I'm reaching out. For every 100 that I send out and I get 10 back, then I follow up with those if they need me to follow up. The Mick Foley thing, he's not in Spokane until May 2nd. When he was announced that he would be here is when I sent the email, and that was the end of February. And his agent told me, we're going to be looking to do booking come April, so follow up with me then. You got it. April 1st, boom. Hey, just following up like you said. How's it look? We're still working out some details. Why don't you hit me back in a couple of weeks? Couple weeks, boom. Hey, just following up like you said. How's it look? Yeah, so what does this look like? And then, 27 emails later. That's how that whole thing worked out. So I don't ever want that. You can hate my show. You really can. Like, it's not my problem. But I will never accept someone telling me that I don't work hard at what I do, because I do, and the proof is in the pudding. And I'm sure that Conor Ferguson, when he hops on, he can back that up. But I've left jobs before because it wasn't my boss telling me that I was crappy at my job. It was him questioning whether or not I was doing it at all. And I don't know what the rift was, what happened. It's only ever happened once in my life, but it just really didn't sit well with me, because I can be told that I'm crappy at a job that I personally don't really care a whole lot about. I will show up, I will clock in on time, I will do my work, but I'm not going to be overzealous about something that my heart isn't in, and I don't feel like that's unreasonable. But for someone to question whether or not I'm even doing work at all, now we've got a problem. So that's a huge peeve of mine. I will say, though, that I have noticed that the haters on social media, so quiet. It's crickets out there right now. I still get unfollows, especially after a successful weekend like with BattleBots, and it's humorous to me now. I've said that before. But just for people that normally would blow up my feed and say this or that or the other thing, or how I was stealing segments, or I was unoriginal, or I was getting boring and stale and not doing anything, like, I haven't heard crap from them. And it's one of the most satisfying feelings out there. So the headlines really is that we are supposed to have the NFL schedule released like now, in case you missed it. We've got NHL playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights, they deserve more than the applause button. They are moving on. Their first time, like, this is an expansion team. Everything that they're doing is the first in franchise history. And continuing with that, the first time in franchise history, in their inaugural season, they have not only advanced to the playoffs, but they clinched their division, and they swept the LA Kings, who are no strangers to the Stanley Cup playoffs or the Stanley Cup itself, and they swept them 4-0. Golden Knights. How about that? Oh, my goodness. I love it. I love this team and everything that they stand for. This team will be more appreciated than the Raiders ever will in Vegas. I'm calling it right now. This team has earned every last inch and bit of the city of Las Vegas's respect. The Raiders, no. The Raiders will be hot for a year because it's football again and not the XFL in Vegas. But these Golden Knights, they have left an impression on this city, win, lose, draw, or go home the next round, that will last a lifetime. Like, they have played for this city, and it couldn't have been after a better time with everything tragic that happened at the Country Music Festival. So this team will be the team in this city. I'm calling it right now. But let's see if the schedule's out. NFL.com. Here we go. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of a coffee cough. Power ranking the NFL GMs. Please. Oh, look. It's a Greg Rosenthal article. Big surprise there. Oh, man. Is this schedule out? Yeah, like, what's going on here? Where's the schedule? Oh, Thursday. NFL will unveil regular season schedule Thursday. I must have been way off about that. Or did that get redone? Did that get redone? I could have swore it was supposed to be today. Oh, well. Life goes on. Life finds a way, as the great Jeff Goldblum would say. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go to commercial break. I will bring back with me the great Conor Ferguson of Last Word on Sports. Indoor Football Edition. We've got power rankings to discuss. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more of the Fan Show coming up right after this. You're listening to the Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's the Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com, or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's back, and it's time to talk some power rankings. It is the great and powerful Conor Ferguson, who is so gracious to lend me his time because his radio show did not have a show tonight. So that's where I am on this particular totem pole in relationship. But always a pleasure to have you back, Conor. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Everything worked out with your show changing times, so we ended up not having our show, so good to be on here again.
Yeah, and it's a hopefully just a 1 week time change, because the thing that I love about for Pacific time, which is what I'm at, so just for argument's sake, we'll use that as a reference. But what I love about the 4:00 spot so much is that it gives me that amount of time that I need to get through an hour before any of the primetime stuff starts, specifically when football happens, which that was part of the headlines today, is that the NFL announced that they're changing the time of their primetime games, which is basically moving them back or up, I guess, 5 to 15 minutes, which I thought was hilarious and extremely comical, because it's like, really? Like, that's all you're going to do? It's going to be, instead of kickoff at 8:30, it's going to be at 8:20? Like, it just, the NFL cracks me up. So, hopefully there's not too many scheduling conflicts in the future for us. But if there is, I understand, so we'll get you on when we can, and we'll talk some power rankings. Mine came out today. There was minor adjustments, but I haven't had a chance to watch the replays. I was getting the updates and notifications from both teams for both games. But what did you see out of the Iowa Barnstormers this week that you didn't see the last time they played Nebraska? And on that same note, vice versa for the Danger.
I'm glad you asked about that game, because I had my laptop went down this week, so I didn't get any of the YouTube games. It just wasn't showing. It was going to black screen, no matter what stream I was on.
Ooh,
so yeah, it didn't help. I was trying to look at replay during the Barnstormers game. I had to borrow the dude's computer who was next to me. But anyway, Iowa and Nebraska on Saturday was completely night and day compared to the first game. Obviously the one obvious thing is Iowa came away with a win, so the loss, and Nebraska slotted back down to your fourth spot. And I'm doing rankings along with you, and I think it's like the third straight week with the same rankings, and that's going to happen with 6 teams. And I know I was talking about tiers earlier in the year, that I have Arizona and Sioux Falls on the top, and then Iowa and Nebraska in the middle, and Cedar Rapids, Green Bay on the bottom, and it's kind of, that's where the teams are. If any team out of the tier beats another, then I'd categorize it as an upset. But back to Iowa and Nebraska, Iowa just came out. Former Iowa State Cyclone Grant Rohach made his Barnstormers debut while Drew Powell is going to the Canadian League for Saskatchewan. So Rohach looked fantastic, 45-yard touchdown right off the bat. Rashad Myers, former Barnstormer from Nebraska, I talked to him after the game, and they just weren't ready for Rohach to be so comfortable in the pocket and everything. And Rohach is a great quarterback, fantastic player, even better dude to talk to. But there hasn't been film on him from like a real game he's played in since 2015. I think that was probably an advantage for Iowa, is that they didn't know. No one knew what Rohach brought to the team. So he'll be a solid quarterback. Reminds me a little Travis Partridge, if it doesn't run the ball as much as him. So I think Iowa's definitely going to have a great rest of the season if he's at quarterback.
So a couple of questions then to follow up with you on that note. How long is Drew Powell expected away, and does it all depend on if they sign him or not? Like, is this something where he's away for a couple of weeks and then he waits to hear back, or is it he's away and then if they decide to sign him, like we saw his last game a few weeks ago with the Barnstormers?
Yeah, so it's definitely a play-it-by-ear kind of deal. I looked at the Saskatchewan roster, and they have, I believe, a few quarterbacks on it. Let me pull it up. But he is, I believe it was a mini-camp deal was what they signed him on. So and I think that's what Ice and F.A.N signed too, but any press release you read will just say the word signed and nothing else. So currently, Saskatchewan has 4 quarterbacks signed to their roster. Marquise Williams from North Carolina, probably the most notable there. I'm not sure who's been playing for them. Brandon Bridge, David Watford, and Zach Caleros is the other 3, just to make sure I give them a mention. But Powell will probably try to make the team. He was in attendance at the Barnstormers game on Saturday. He didn't want to play because he didn't want to get hurt. I know John Veeks has Javix Jones, you know him, has done that in the past where he went to a CFL tryout and then came right back and didn't miss a single game for the Barnstormers. So it all depends on the person, when they're working out, how long they're working out for. But I believe they both signed minicamp deals at least this time, so that will probably hold them for a couple of weeks at least.
Gotcha. So more than a tryout, it's an actual mini camp, and they will keep them for a little bit, and then we'll see what happens with that. I know that Craig Peterson of the Carolina Cobras over in the NAL was talking about how he was going to go and kick for the CFL for a little bit. So it is that time. It's a great time of the year, but at the same time, it's a little heartbreaking for some of these teams because they lose, their star players either for a game, a period of time, or maybe even permanently. But it's the most bittersweet thing out there because it's for the greater good, and you feel ecstatic for them to get that chance to move up and move on. So and you got. Go ahead. I was going to say you have to fill those positions behind them too, and that becomes difficult to do when you're cycling players in and out. I know Green Bay's doing that with their new coach. They're all over the transaction page, just signing a ton of new guys. They could be bringing a complete new team and when things become available here soon. But like Iowa already has a replacement for Sean and Ken Van Huel. I think you've had him on the show once or twice. He played for Iowa a few years ago, so it was nice to have him back and see him again. And then obviously Rojas for Powell. So right now Iowa's set, and they could bring them back, and it would be interesting to see who would keep that quarterback job, or who would stay at offensive line. You assume the guys who came back, but you'd have the weapons still, the proven weapons. Yeah, and I think for Kenneth Van Huel, every time that I've talked to him, he's always got a very good head on his shoulders. He's always hungry to play, and he wants to compete, at a high level. And I was blown away by the fact that somehow Billy Back and the Cobras didn't get him. And then he said he had this relationship with the Omaha coach, and I said, hey, whatever works for you. But I said, in all honesty, you're going to be one of those players that you're going to feel better utilized and valued on a team either like Arizona, Iowa, or somebody in the NAL. And he was like, yeah, maybe we'll see. And then they had the NAL rule change, and he was upset about that. But then I said, look, man, you got to reach out to Arizona or Iowa because I think that those two teams could really value you. And so then all of a sudden he ends up signing with Iowa, and I was like, sweet, except no finder's fee, so that's unfortunate. But how was his performance? Van Huel was great. Did his job on the offensive line. As far as when I was specifically watching them, there was one play Brady Rowland got. They threw a screen or something, and Brady had to dive to catch the pass, and it was when he was coming back up to still run again, the whistle blew. One of the Nebraska players, number 11, I can't even remember his name, but he nailed him, hit him right in the ground, and not even like a millisecond later, Van Huel came up and just put him on the ground and got an unfortunate penalty for it, but I thought it was a great hit, and Ken's fantastic, always brings the energy, great all-around player to have. Yeah, there's been a ton of movement on the transactions page. I'm looking at it right now, and a few things, though, that I'm not too clear on is Lorenzo White Jr., formerly of the Spokane Empire, and then he spent some time in Tampa Bay with the Storm. He got signed by the Sioux Falls Storm, and I congratulated him because I know that he is one of those competitive players, and so I was happy to see that. But Sean Daniels, who I've had on the show, good buddy of mine, it says here for Green Bay that the action was a transfer, but I know that he got injured. What does transfer mean on the transactions page here? Transfer should mean up to the CFL or something. They might not be too specific on that. He might have gone to a different league that wasn't pro. Usually when it's pro, if you scroll down, it says transfer CFL. Yeah, and that's what it says for Jermaine Robinson, yeah. Usually that's transferring to another team or another league or something. And then RTR, doesn't that mean return to... I feel like it means return from something, but I haven't seen that. Yeah, I'm not clear on RTR. I used to be,
and I've completely wiped it out because not a lot of huge players get the RTR on there. So
Oh, that's all right. I'll figure it out.
See it less and less, but yeah.
These are players that I know, so I'll just hit them up and be like, "Hey, what's this mean?" And then hopefully they'll tell me. But it was a good win for Iowa. It definitely was interesting to see that these two teams were able to bounce back and be so competitive with backup quarterbacks. Now, of course, Iowa, first time with their backup, and then, of course, Nebraska, this was like their third game with Scroggins. But you feel like it's more than just a lack of film thing on Iowa's quarterback. Is it Rortach? I can't remember how to pronounce it.
It's Rohach.
Rohach.
And then, yeah. And then definitely, yeah, you'll see a lot of announcers like to go with Roick or something like that. And it's always, everywhere he goes, it seems like that. Because I followed him really closely at Iowa State. He's a great quarterback. Played under Paul Rhodes. And he's talented, man. He same body type as Travis Partridge, if that tells you anything. He can run the ball. We saw him run a little bit. Dixie likes to have his quarterbacks run the ball in the past season and a half. I've watched him. There's a lot of design runs. I think Iowa's going to be fine with him. He's a great dude. He knows what he's doing. He's going to put his time and effort into it.
And then on that same note of quarterbacks, Ziemba seems to have really found his stride with the Arizona Rattlers. I mean, I thought for sure that this would be Verlin Reed's time, but since he got hurt, he has yet to start again, and Ziemba struggled at first. I mean, there's no way around that, but now he seems to really have found his stride. And, of course, props to Kevin Guy for adjusting whatever he needed to make him more comfortable in that pocket. But that game against the Storm, again, haven't seen the highlights, but I did see the updates, and it was a tit for tat. It came down to the wire. But how crazy is it that when you look around the league, a team like Sioux Falls, who, yeah, they had a lot of turnover on their defense, but their offense, I mean, they've added some great weapons, and then they have their quarterback. Like, they've had their quarterback the whole time, where Nebraska, Iowa, and Arizona have had to make quarterback changes. But yet, Arizona sits atop the standings all by themselves. And then we have Iowa, who came really close to beating the Storm. And then you have the danger out there that, it really depends on the week what kind of danger football team you get out there. But it is, as of right now, a 4-team race. I thought things would be made a little clearer had we gotten the third and final matchup between from this last weekend being Green Bay and Cedar Rapids. But we will have to wait for the next Green Bay and Cedar Rapids action, which will not be against each other. Instead, it's Green Bay on the road to Arizona, and I hope they don't have any kind of field rust from being out of the game for so long. I know they're probably itching to get back out there. And then Cedar Rapids on the road as well against Sioux Falls Storm. There's a lot of football left to be played, but at this point, Nebraska's played the most football with 7 games. They're a winning record 4-3, and Green Bay's played the least, and they're at 0-5. So technically, Green Bay's not that far back, but when you look at what their schedule is, they really needed a win against the Titans in order to get maybe on the right track. So we'll see how this plays out. They're under the new head coach, Korey Robertson. I don't know how much you've heard on him, but I'm going to try to get him on the show probably next week to see if we can do a little get to know you.
Yeah, I haven't heard much on him. I was actually looking to do an interview with him as well, and I know you have Korey Ringer. I talked to him for the first time last Saturday and got to do an interview with him, so that was fantastic. He's a great special teams kick returner, and if people kick the ball to him, he'll show you what he's got. Iowa didn't kick the ball to him Saturday, so
smart move.
that's why he didn't show up there. But yeah, it's just like you said about Cedar Rapids and Green Bay, they're, at Sioux Falls and at Arizona. I don't see either of them winning the game. The gap's just going to further itself and open up more. And I'm really excited. I wrote down next week's schedule for Sioux Falls and Nebraska.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's in Grand Island. I'm really excited for that game. I think Nebraska can definitely find something there. And you got a bye week this week. And if I'm Nebraska's PR, and I know the IFL's office is in Grand Island, promote that game. Just balls to the wall, just promote that game for the next 2 weeks.
They should, and you'd think that they would. But the problem is that for whatever reason, Nebraska is just so laxed. I mean, when I was there, it was just like they were so chill about everything. They didn't have any kind of media badges or like a designated media area. I could pretty much wander around wherever I wanted to, and nobody really gave me a second look. But, I mean...
Well, yeah, if you walk around, I saw your post, but if you walk around like you own the place, no one's going to question. As long as you're not 16 and doing it at Wells Fargo, I got a couple of the security guards didn't like that. But otherwise,
we just got to get you suited up, Connor. We just got to get you suited up, man. It's time.
Well, when I'm a 15, 16-year-old walking around at like a G League game, just trying to like cover games and like get experience and stuff, it like, oh, that sucked. I would dread like, oh, here's another security check. I hope he doesn't think my badge is fake.
Oh,
I think there'd be guys who would like look at it and they wouldn't even know what it is, and I'm sitting there like, man, you must not get a lot of media here. I guess I have no clue. It's such
so
they can't all be really nice, but you wish more could.
You're going to be at that game in Nebraska then?
As of right now, I'm not sure. Actually, as of right now, I'm not sure. I don't know what I got going that week, but it's definitely on the schedule. It's dead week for us at Iowa State, so that's definitely a possibility now that you bring it up.
It wouldn't be for you. It really wouldn't be too hard to catch a lift there, because I know Antonio, his son, is a closet Danger fan. Although I think the secret's out on that one. But they go to those. This will be a great matchup. They'd probably definitely go to that. I think probably even Jimmy and the rest of the flight crew would want to go and see this one firsthand. And then you got the next night. You guys, Iowa taking on
right back here
on the Blizzard. It'd be a great weekend for a doubleheader. So you'll have to let me know if you do that, because I think that for you guys it'd be a lot of fun. But I do appreciate your comment on my announcement from earlier at the top of the show. I kind of went into a thing about how if people think that the show sucks, that's fine, it's whatever. But I don't want somebody to tell me that they don't think that I work hard enough for what I want, because this is one of those things where it's like, no, you don't understand the behind the scenes stuff, and like you're talking about, like when I first started, I was getting my credentials checked at every security checkpoint, and even then it was like, we gotta call this in and make sure that you're supposed to be here. So some people just don't understand the struggle.
Yeah, no, I can definitely vouch for you. I heard that comment too. You're one of the hardest working guys in the business, and to get so many people on the show and just the entire league covered like you do is awesome. I can't wait to see that in the NFL when you're up there.
Yeah, we'll see. I do like my role right now. I got Green Bay coming up, and then 2 more NAL games. And then, of course, wherever the United Bowl is, which right now looks like Phoenix, but it could very well be Iowa or even Sioux Falls or Nebraska. Either way, it should be a good one. Be nice if there was a little change of scenery in a different place. But Phoenix in July, I don't know how I quite feel about that possibility. So,
man, I don't know. As long as it's not that gray, drabby field up in South Dakota, I love it. I love it there. It's fun. The announcer could tone down the volume on his microphone
just a bit.
That'd be fantastic. That's my only complaint about South Dakota. Actually, is him.
Yeah,
have him on the show. Tell him I'd like the microphone just a couple notches lower,
or just for him to say, "I can't hear you 50 times less than he does already."
Oh man, it's just. There's one thing about hyping the crowd, but don't hype the crowd too much, please. At that point, it just makes it look worse than it is.
All right, man. Well, I was going to have NAL power rankings, but I had a hiccup because I was checking their site to make sure that I was going to get the standings and the records correct. But apparently you have to view it on an actual desktop site. So I'll get those out later, and we can start talking about those when you're free if you want to, but it's something else kind of fun to do. But I got to get Korey Ringer on. But thank you, as always, for your time, since you're in such high demand now, Connor.
I am free anytime you got. Anytime for you, Richard.
All right. Thank you, my friend. You have a great rest of your night.
You too. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It was Conor Ferguson. Last word on Sports Team Fan Show, member of Fan Nation. And with that, we're going to go right into commercial break and bring on my guest, Korey Ringer. We'll be right back with more of the Fan Show after this.
This is The Sheet. Gets me all revved up. My face is now red. My ears are just freaking boiling.
He's so raw that Sky hates him.
Yeah, he had 51 touchdowns, 4,900 total yards.
I know y'all like that, but I got to run, and only in Alabama that could happen, I have to say.
They're so good, man. They would win the Big Ten if they were in the Big Ten. Could be doing something vision-based in front of you and reach down and grab a handful of insane goodness.
Give it to him. Kudos. I'm clapping like a golfer. Very good, Johnny. I'm proud of you.
Wow, you guys agree on something again? I'm very impressed. You ever had a bad week? You know, just you walk outside, step in a puddle, like right when you walk outside. I mean, how's there a puddle right outside your house? Or you stand on the curb and somebody drives by and splashes water up on you? Or it's just raining on you, not anyone else?
I will tell you, before you go any further, I cannot hear Chad when he speaks.
Good. You're listening to the sheet, man. I don't really know what we're doing.
Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on WBLZ Sports.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve all your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call, no matter the size of the job, at 740-438-7173. Mention WBLZ Sports, and you'll get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is Nick Ficarelli, the mad scientist of sports. Join me and Dr. D, Derek Jones, live every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the Mad Scientist Sports Lab. The big intellect, the experiments on the chalkboard, and the guest subjects will be rolling in. Mad Scientist Sports Lab, only on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. 404-966-3361.
Check out Thursday Night Tailgate, where NFL legends live on. We bring you 5 NFL legends every week, sharing their stories and insights, plus our spotlight on the positive. Hear which players are doing great things in their communities. Now on WBLZ Sports Talk Radio and WBLZSports.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and taking a little break from dominating the league and being the IFL Player of the Week. It is Korey Ringer from the Nebraska Danger. Welcome to the program, Korey. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Good to be on.
Excellent. Well, I always take suggestions, especially from people I know and trust. Marshall Hart, of course, a Spokane native, buddy of mine. I said, hey, who do you think would be a good fit to be on the show this week? And he's like, man, you got to get my boy Korey Ringer on the show. Of course, he's a little biased being your guys' special teams coach, but I don't fault him for that because I'd be biased too. But hey, man, you're having a hell of a season. How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling good, man. You know, it's a bit shocking and surprising to see what's been going on as of late. You know, given that being a kick returner isn't my natural position, but it's just something that I've adopted to. You know, took it going full throttle, and you know, I've been trying to do the best I can do with the help of my, you know, fellow special teams teammates and you know the coaches for putting the trust in me to return the ball.
Yeah, I actually just had Conor Ferguson on, who beat writes for the Iowa Barnstormers. I haven't had a chance to watch the games from the weekend from start to finish. I did see some of the highlights, and of course I got the final scores and the updates while I was away. But he said, yeah, Iowa just didn't kick to him. I mean, that's got to be some kind of compliment, right?
Yeah, man, you know, it gets frustrating, you know, when you're a running back by trade. You know, you kind of want to be on the field, you know, as much as possible. So, you know, they kick the ball off, maybe anywhere from 5 to 10 times a game. And, you know, they kick it out of bounds for the most part or, you know, try to squib it to the corner. But, you know, I try to get my hands on as many of them as I can get on, you know. And then, but, yeah, it really didn't kick much to me, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, nature of the beast, part of the business. You know, I just look forward to being able to return the ball when I can.
What's it like being in a league and being sort of the star, right now that you are, and sharing company with the likes of returning IFL Hall of Famer B.J. Hill?
It's different. It's really different. B.J. Hill, he's been doing it for a long time. He actually, pretty sure he set the record for most touchdowns in a career or something against us back early in the season. And I actually didn't watch that game, so watching the game from a fan's perspective, the first couple of weeks and, seeing, people like B.J. Hill return the ball for in the way that he did, it's different. I'm a running back by trade. That's what I'm used to doing. So now I kind of take a different approach to the game with, try to study film from different returners or, just see how they try to see how they see things. And B.J. Hill is another one of those guys. I try to, look up some old stuff on him and see how he looks at the field to try to gain a better perspective of how to be a, successful kick returner.
Yeah, I understand that completely. And, growing up, a lot of people will idolize different athletes. And of course, with the NFL, they give their star power to the playmakers, and kick returning is no stranger to that. But growing up, were you a person that idolized a Deion Sanders or a Devin Hester, or was it that once you kind of got fitted into the role that you're in now that you started looking at that position a little differently?
See, that's the thing. It was more when I got fitted into the role. Like I said, I'm a running back by trade, so playing kick returning is something that I've always done, but I've never been the kick returner. This is what I've kind of been trying to explain to people the past few weeks. It's I've always had the ability to be a kick returner, but I've never been the kick returner. So growing up, I'm watching film on C.J. Spiller or Adrian Peterson or Walter Payton, Bo Jackson, Marshawn Lynch. That's the type of film that I'm watching growing up. And then here in the past few weeks, I've watched film on Josh Cribbs and Devin Hester, and now I've started to take that role on trying to watch those type of return films. What is it? The Human Joystick Hall from Kansas City. I've tried to watch those type of, return film to kind of see how they do things. Because, naturally, I want to turn on Adrian Peterson film. And naturally, I want to turn on Marshawn Lynch film. But I kind of got to steer away from that for the time being, and look at other guys who have done what I'm trying to do successfully.
So let me ask you then a question, perfect segue into this, because I've always been curious about, a player's perspective on other players. Because I know for me watching as a fan, there are times that I'm full on blown away, but I can't quite put my finger on what it was that blew me away about that. So you're talking about guys like Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, two very different types of running backs. And then you've got, kick returners like Devin Hester, Deion Sanders, yourself. What is it about their style of play that is the most fascinating thing to you? What is it that maybe most people wouldn't notice that you do that truly separates them from the rest of the herd?
As far as the kick returners are concerned?
Or even the running backs. I mean, whichever one that you feel more confident, going in a little depth on.
I would feel more confident about going into depth with, running backs, but, I'll do both. Adrian Peterson is an extremely violent runner. And Marshawn Lynch is an extremely violent runner, but I think what separates the two is that, Marshawn he's a game changer type back. He can break away, but Adrian Peterson, man, as soon as he hits the corner, he's out of there. So with me, I like to watch those type of backs who can absorb the contact and still be able to take it the distance when it comes to running backs. And as far as players like Devin Hester, the film that I've watched on him recently, it amazes me how he's able to stop on a dime and then accelerate full speed. And he does it more than once. He'll catch the ball, kind of pace himself to see what's in front of him. He'll hit a crease, then he might hit another crease, at the stop of a dime and kind of change direction quickly, and then finishes fast. And that's what, intrigues me as a football player is when I can see players stop on a dime or absorb contact and then still be able to finish the run or still be able to take it the distance for, a nice amount of yards afterwards. That's what gets my eyes locked on the screen.
Is having vision downfield something that a person can practice, or is it something that's almost like a God-given ability? Because that's what I feel is like one of the more defining features about guys like either a Devin Hester or Adrian Peterson is that, yeah, they can cut, but it's like they've got to see where they need to make the cut at in their openings to get through and go the distance.
It's a little bit of both. I would say I would definitely say it's more God-given than anything, simply because your eyes have to stay upfield while you're running. So nowadays in the sports world they have these. The game is also recorded live on the sideline, so you're able to go back and look at the last series or look at the last return and see where you made the mistakes at. But just because you saw where you made the mistakes at while it was happening doesn't necessarily mean that when you go out there the next time, on the next return, or the next offensive series, that is going to be the exact thing. So just because you might have noticed where you made the mistake prior doesn't necessarily mean that when you go out for the next live series that you're going to be able to respond in a way that might have happened previously. Like for instance, a kickoff return. When the kickoff team is flying down there, now they may have did some twist and stunt the previous kickoff. When they come back the next time, who's to say that they're going to do that same twist or stunt? And then who's to say that, everybody's going to get blocked? Like it's more of an instinct thing. It's more of an instinct thing than it is to prepare to try to see what's going to be available.
Fair enough, and I love that breakdown and that analysis, so I really do appreciate that. Now, talking more direct about you and about the Danger and this IFL season, you guys got one hell of a matchup coming up here. Let's see here. It is the 27th. That's when Sioux Falls comes to visit. Now, you have split the series with Iowa so far, and as far as the Rattlers go, they're atop of the heap. But in your mind, what does Nebraska need to do to get beyond just being top 4 in a 6-team league?
I mean, in my opinion, we just have to finish. We have to come out full throttle and play a consistent game. Our 3 losses aren't because we weren't good enough or aren't because we weren't the better team on the field. We've gifted those teams those wins. However you want to chalk it up, we have. You know what I mean? We haven't got blown out. We haven't played complete games. We haven't played a complete 60 minutes. And when the Nebraska Danger decide to play a complete 60 minutes, they're going to be one of the toughest teams to beat. And take it how you want to take it. It is what it is. Our depth across the board is incredible. We have a great defensive line. We have great linebackers. We have great DBs. We have a great O-line. We have great skill players. We have a great quarterback, and we have great coaches. So, I mean, Coach Stout, he picks the players that he wants. He knows his system. He knows what players he wants in each position. And the minute that we decide to play a full 60 minutes, I mean, sky's the limit, to be completely honest. So as far as Nebraska Danger and what we have to do, we have to play a full 60 minutes, a complete 60 minutes. And, whatever happens, happens.
All right, well, that's a great breakdown. I think that you guys are definitely poised to be, more than just top 4 right now, but there's plenty of season left to be played. For you, in your particular role, when you play a team like the Storm, if they're not kicking to you, like what can you do from there to help your team? Like, what's the backup plan for you on the roster?
I mean, the plan is whatever Coach Stout wants me to do, that's what I'm going to do. So right now, that's returning kicks and run it down on kickoff. If they decide not to kick to me, then, I just kind of got to go, balls to walls on kickoff and, just try to disrupt them and, pin them deep to where their offense has to, drive the field and put our defense in good position. And then, whenever my number is called, do whatever I'm asked to do. I'm a big team guy. I'm not a real big me guy. Whatever Korey Ringer can do to help his team win a championship, that's what Korey Ringer is going to do. So whatever my role is, whatever they tell me to do, that's what I'm going to do. And that's just really it, really. That's what it really boils down to, is doing your job. Whatever your job is to do your job.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to seeing what the Danger can bring to the table the rest of the season. Like I said, big matchup coming up with you guys and the Sioux
Absolutely.
Falls Storm, man. I mean, that's gonna be some good football right there. So, I've been there. I've seen you guys play, and it's a great facility that you guys have, and I think you guys got a great coaching staff. Obviously, you've got the best coach in the business for special teams in Marshall Hart. So, I do want to thank you for taking the time, man. It's been a pleasure, but don't be a stranger. I'm sure we'll have you back on later this season.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Hey, anytime, man. You take care.
All right, you too.
That was Korey Ringer of the Nebraska Danger. There's a big matchup coming up. I tell you what, man, that's going to be good. So Green Bay Blizzard against the Arizona Rattlers. That's the 21st. That's the next game scheduled. That kickoff is at 8:05 Central, which is 6:05 Pacific, 9:05 Eastern. And then Cedar Rapids against the Sioux Falls Storm. That is also the 21st. Kickoff is scheduled for 7:05 Central, which is 5:05 Pacific, 8:05 Eastern. So an hour's difference. You can toggle back and forth on YouTube. And then the 27th, so a week later, we got the big matchup, Sioux Falls Storm, Nebraska Danger. I mean, they've been off football so long. You want to pick Green Bay because they've done their head coaching change, and you feel like they're maybe a refreshed group ready to get out there and win. And it's been a while since Arizona lost. But, man, Arizona's playing some good ball right now. I'm going to have to say Arizona simply because of the fact that I feel like Green Bay might be rusty. I hope they prove me wrong. I really do. I would love nothing more than to see an upset and, above all, a great matchup. Sioux Falls and Cedar Rapids. Sioux Falls, they can get beat here and there, especially by the same team, but I don't see them losing to Cedar Rapids, not just yet anyway. As far as the National Arena League goes, because I'm not going to have a chance to do the previews tomorrow. I'll have Steve Ranazisi on the show. You won't want to miss it. Special start time for that, so check your calendars or, set your watches, set your alarms. But we've got the Jacksonville Sharks taking on the Columbus Lions. That's Saturday. That should be a good matchup. That's a rematch of last year's championship in the NAL. Then the Pirates go to Carolina to take on the Cobras. This is the game right here. The Pirates and Cobras, 2-0 versus 1-1. Both expansion teams. Both teams know each other very well from other leagues and from other days of yesteryear in the indoor league. And then you have the Mammoths and the Steelhawks. That's also Saturday. Both teams looking to get their first win of the season. Mammoths are 0-2, and Lee Valley is 0-1. So it's a somebody's got to win game. And with the other two, hopefully one keeps winning, or, I guess it can't be, hopefully one keeps winning. One will keep winning. Cobras and Pirates on respective win streaks. Jacksonville is the only one of the four that is on a losing streak, other than, of course, Maine and Lee Valley. So Bruno Sammartino passed away today. Very tragic to hear of the passing. And as far as the everything happening by 3, R. Lee, the guy from Full Metal Jacket, I just know him as, I just used to call him Sarge. But he's that guy that was always in the Army hat. Always funny. He was in Frighteners, and he was in Saving Silverman. But man, he had some great roles, great personality. He passed away tragically last week. Barbara Bush passed away, and then now Bruno Sammartino passed away. So there is your 3. But it's 2018, and after the 2017 we saw, it probably isn't done just yet. So who knows? But, a little bit of sad news there. But the good news is that the Superstar shakeup happened, and Raw and SmackDown. Boy, SmackDown Live is the brand now. The Miz came over. They've got Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Charlotte Flair, Asuka. Like, you might as well not even bother having Raw, let alone 3 hours of it. 3 hours of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar? Are you freaking kidding me? Good luck with that. Maybe Elias can do an extra hour set from now on. So, Raw, man, SmackDown got the shaft last year, and I figured that's because you can't, if you're Vince, you can't let SmackDown continue to beat on you because they have the better talent. But now SmackDown has all the talent, and they're just like, even bad story writing, the matches are going to be top quality. So sign me up. They're going to rival NXT. which is something that I haven't said in a year, and I may never say again, but we'll see. So that's going to do it for us on this Wednesday edition. Like I said, tomorrow, very special episode. You won't want to miss it. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the podcast in all of its shapes, sizes, and forms. iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. Follow on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, either The Fan Show or @Fan Show Official. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night!
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.